Bombette is a partner with a fuse as short as my temper. When she's not body slamming, she's going boom. And man can she go boom well. So in her Boom Bossa Boom Festival, how far can she go? Let's find out. To begin, we have the fight with Red and Blue Goomba. At this point in the challenge, we do not have magic commands, which means our bomb and body slam do the same amount of damage. Thankfully, this doesn't really matter because the Blue Goomba's already in front and that's what we want to KO first. With Mario's max HP set to 20, we're able to body slam both the Goomba brothers and win. It sets it rather nicely with the next fight we have against the Goomba King. Since we just got through beating yet the Red and Blue Goomba, they have low HP. So if Bombette just targets the tree in the background, it triggers a chain reaction where we have Goomnuts fall on Goomba King, Red Goomba, and Blue Goomba. With all of them taking 3 damage in the first turn, that's already it for the 2 Goombas behind the Goomba King, and not long afterwards, the Goomba King is also going down for the count. So far so good for the prologue, but unfortunately, then we are forced to fight the Match Koopa. Now Bombette's only attacks are ground bound for the time being. As such, she simply cannot reach the Match Koopa that's airborne on his broom, and we are unable to win this fight. So if you were wondering if we could beat Paper Mario with only Bombette, well the answer is no. But that's not the point of this series now, isn't it? So how many bosses can she beat? And how much can we actually do with only Bombette? Let's find out. Coming up is Chapter 1. There are quite a few required fights to do while we're here. First up being Fuzzy. Thanks to magic commands, our bomb now does a lot more damage than it used to be able to do. So much so, with ease, we're able to 1 KO Fuzzies one at a time. Ultimately, no sweat. There is one roadblock, however, in Chapter 1. In the room where the hallways apparently can just rise out of Mario's reach, Bombette cannot reach Paratroopas, and there's at least one fight where there's a Paratroopa in the back where Bombette cannot reach with her first strike. So close, yet so far. Because everything else in Chapter 1 can be done by Bombette all by herself. She has no problem hurting Bob-Ombs and Koopa Troopas when they're on the ground, so of course, when you first rescue Bombette, that required fight is no problem for her. Oh, and fun fact, using Bombette's bomb against the Bob-Omb, whether you fail or perfect the action command, it always does damage equal to how much HP the Bob-Omb has left. You might be asking why the heck do I know something so obscure like this? Well, thanks Sugar Conroy. She also does more than 1 damage in a single hit, so the Bill Blasters are not a problem for her either. A single bomb is all it takes to take those Bill Blasters out. And even with no FP, Body Slam still at least does 1 damage per hit, so this fight is also possible. But the real kicker is that Bombette is one of 2 partners that is capable of beating the Koopa Bros all by herself. First of all, her body slam does just fine against the Trojan Bowser. The interesting thing, however, is when we get to the Koopa Bros when they're perked on top of each other. Bombette's bomb will instantly tumble the Koopa Bros and make them all fall on their backs. And while flipped, a fully powered bomb is instant death for one. It does demand more FP than other partners would like to have, but the long and short of it is that this is a fight for Bombette to win where she does not need Mario's help at all. So congratulations to Bombette for being able to single-handedly win a fight that most other partners would need an exception for just to have a fighting chance. Just like that, that's Chapter 1. Not a bad start at all. Though this is the end of Chapter 1, we also have to fight Junior Troopa on our way back to Toad Town. But to be fair to me, he was not a hard fight whatsoever. Bombette's bomb made very quick work of Junior Troopa. It took what, I think 4 turns? Yeah, that's really all it took. Onward to Chapter 2, we have a bit of a situation here. You likely already noticed this, but we cannot hurt Buzzar with Bombette as is right now. Even after ranking her up to Super Rank, she only learns Power Bomb. No doubt a strong attack, but it does nothing for Bombette's weakness against either airborne or elevated enemies. Fortunately for her though, Buzzar is an optional boss, so we'll come back to fight her later. Dry Drive Ruins isn't as I would like it to be for Bombette, but it is something. She has no problem beating the Pokemummies, but she can't hurt Swoops because they're on the ceiling. A bit of a downer for sure, but she can hurt the Stone Chomps afterwards. At the very least, this was no problem for her. The fight with Tufted Koopa, however, is very interesting. As you can see, Tufted Koopa is currently elevated, so Bombette can't reach him to hurt him. No, unfortunately, the only way for Bombette to be able to reach Tufted Koopa is if Tufted Koopa falls down to where her level is. And that's only possible if Tufted Koopa tries using the magic spell, and the magic spell turns traitor on him. So for most of this fight, Bombette can't even hurt him. And I can't really afford to attack the Chomp, because if I do attack the Chomp with my FP, I won't have the FP to hurt Tufted Koopa once he comes back down. Correction. If he comes back down. Technically this is possible, but I'm only giving Bombette half credit for this. because the only means where she can win is entirely outside of her control. There's not much else we can do at the moment, so let's move on to Chapter 3. Though I hate to say it, this run is only going downhill from here. Once again, we're forced to fight Junior Troopa, and even though Bombette has a really savage line about how dirty he must be in this forest, I'm afraid she's all fizzle and no boom. Junior Troopa is airborne, and as a result, that means that Bombette cannot reach him. Yeah, this fight was over before it even got to start. Something that could honestly be said for the entirety of Chapter 3, because guess what? Too late. Tubba heart is elevated, so Bombette cannot reach it either with her body slam or her bomb attacks. With this fight being unwinnable, she obviously can't attack Tubba himself either when the heart and his body reunite. What an utter tragedy. Our next fights are in Chapter 4. We can fight Anti-Guy, but I don't want to do it quite yet. For now, I want to focus on the bosses, Big Lantern Ghost and General Guy. And guess what? Don't waste your time trying to think I'm the person making the video, I'll explain it to you. Big Lantern Ghost is in a dark room. You can't see him unless you hit the lantern. Bombette can hit the lantern, but once she hits the lantern twice, where it's bright enough to see the Big Lantern Ghost, the Big Lantern Ghost will blow the lantern out. What I'm driving at is that it's impossible for Bombette to even be able to see Big Lantern Ghost to hit him, let alone be able to do any damage. Quite insulting when you consider the fact that Powerbomb is crossed out, despite the fact that it hits literally everything including the lantern. Luck do not be a lady tonight, let me tell you. And things don't get any better for the General Guy fight either. The Shy Squad is no problem, but the Silk Guys are one. They are elevated, even though it's highly possible that Bombette could just blow the stilts off of these guys. The game said no, and forced her to shut her, well, I say mouth, but she just has a text bubble and that's it.
Life's not fair, is it?
About all that's left right now, the fight before Chapter 5 is the Fuzzipede. And the funny thing is that without Watt making the room brighter, even if Fuzzipede is right on top of Mario's sprite, the fight won't trigger. It's fair to therefore also say that we cannot hope to be able to hit the Fuzzipede when it's dark, as none of Bombette's options are allowed to work here. So yeah, very unfortunate for her. Who's that partner? Though things do pick up quite a bit in Chapter 5. Both Ambushes and Piranhas have no issue being hit by Powerbomb, of course. But deep in the Jade Jungle, there is actually an interesting fight of 3 Piranhas and a White Magic Koopa. Now, White Magic Koopas are capable of healing themselves and their teammates for a lot of HP at once. It can be 3 for the whole party, or fight for only 1 target. But when it comes to AoE heals, Bombette is extremely strong against that. Her Powerbomb does 6 damage per use. That is far more than the White Magic Koopa can handle, only healing 3 HP across the entire party. And if he wanted to heal himself for 5 HP, well guess what? Bombette's bomb does 6 damage, so heck you. Not too much later, we meet Raphael the Raven and get our Ultra Stone, which means that we can finally rank up Bombette to Ultra rank and learn the move Mega Bomb. See Mega Bomb as Power Bomb, but it hits enemies that are also airborne and on the ceiling too. Yes, you heard me right. This move hits enemies that are also airborne. Do you know what this means? This means that Bombette can finally attack Buzzar, but moreover, it means she can actually fight Junior Troopa in the air now. I mean, yeah, he gains a fancy new spike, but what does that matter? I can blow him up. It takes 4 Mega Bombs, which, yeah, is very expensive, but as far as I'm concerned, as long as the partner uses no more than 65 FP, I'm fine with it. Why 65? Simple. Your max FP is 50. With 3 FP pluses, that becomes 65. Beyond that, you need Happy Flower, which is RNG, and we're not about that. At least, not RNG that's outside of my control. But since we already mentioned Buzzar, let's fight her now. It feels very weird to fight this boss in Chapter freaking 5. But with a hefty amount of FP, you see I have 45 max now, it takes 6 Mega Bombs to knock out Buzzar. And if I may add, it's a very good thing we have access to Flower Saber now, because Mega Bomb will be used a lot going forward. Despite this, don't be fooled. Though this does mean that Lava Piranha is technically possible, it's a fact that he's only possible if we have access to Happy Flower, which can work because after 7 activations of this badge, that's another Mega Bomb. But let's do the math. Buzzar had 40 HP. Lava Piranha has 40 HP per phase. If Buzzar needed 6 Mega Bombs to KO, that means that Lava Piranha in total would need a whopping 12. That's 84 FP, when our maximum for the entirety of the game is 65. I will give Bombette at least partial credit, because yes, it's possible. Survivability is also not an issue here. even with my low HP, it is possible to reduce Level Piranha's damage to 0 thanks to Last Stand, Damage Dodges, Defend Plus, and Fire Shield. And that's to say nothing of my live streams too. Now is also a good time to mention that we can actually fight some bloopers now. I'm also fighting Electro Blooper and not the normal blooper because I fought the normal blooper earlier with other partners in this series, and the way I see it, if you can beat one blooper, you can beat them all anyway. I do have gameplay of this though because I did fight Blooper much earlier in the run, but I will confess to getting Mega Bomb early through cheating. I am still giving Bombette full credit for this though because you're not required to fight any bloopers until just before Chapter 7, when you're guaranteed to have the Mega Stone. This brings us now to Electro Blooper. You'll notice here that I am using Happy Flower. The reason why is because I'm impatient. With Electro Blooper having 50 HP, you need at least 8 Mega Bombs to KO him. That's 56 FP. And to think, all because Electro Blooper has 1 HP left after 7 Mega Bombs. But hey, 56 is still less than 65, so I'll count it. We're now entering Chapter 6, and if you've been enjoying this series, I'd very much appreciate if you liked the video. I won't go into detail of the Monty Moveset Petunia's room though. Literally every partner can beat these 4 fights no problem. But it's only after handling those 4 fights and making some way through this fetch quest in Flower Fields, we can obtain the second and final Flower Saver badge. This badge is required to be able to beat Super Blooper in addition to at least having 60 FP. All we have to do now is spam Mega Bomb and survive. Bombette's Mega Bomb does 7 damage. Super Blooper has 70 HP max. 70 divided by 7 is 10. How many Mega Bombs I can use? 10. Simple math, simple fight. And really, I'd see a lot of this run from this point forward as just simple for Bombette. The Lakitus and Flower Fields just before the maze. Simple. Just spam Mega Bomb. Use it twice and you win. Same case in the room with the Huff and Puff machine. As well as Lackluster. It takes 8 Mega Bombs, but all the same, very simple. Huff and Puff is slightly less simple though, but not in the way you'd expect. Because of how the fight with Huff and Puff is designed, just about every time you use Mega Bomb, it will be absorbed. In fact, you'd have to use Mega Bomb 2 times in succession, costing you 12 whole FP just for only one of those Mega Bombs to stick as you KO the Huff and Puffs that you just spawned, only to then spawn more and have them heal that off instead. It was only at this moment I started to think that Bombette cannot beat this fight without Happy Flower. And then I realized that if the Tough Puffs knock out Mario, that ends Huff and Puff's turn, meaning Huff and Puff himself won't be able to act. This is a big deal. Not only is Huff and Puff not able to attack Mario, he's also unable to absorb any of the Tough Puffs that Bombette spawned out of him. To put it simply, it's a good thing I have so many live streams. Because now, more than ever before, I needed them. I mean, I would feel bad about this, but with how this boss is designed, I'm kinda glad this actually is a thing. Because for the first time since Chapter freaking 1, Bombette's able to receive full credit for a chapter boss. Even though it's only possible because of a technicality. That ends Chapter 6, and there's a few fights I want to look at before going into Chapter 7. I mean, there is the anti-guy, but it's mostly irrelevant. Mostly because in Chapter 8, there's an anti-guy unit, and I want to fight that instead for Bombette. I mean, I fight the solo anti-guy as well, that is a Thrall, a mini-boss with 50 HP. But on average, Bombette only needs to do 5 damage per turn to win, and she does 7 with her bomb attack. So obviously she can't do it, right? It's not hard for her. We'll give her some credit for now, but the real meat and potatoes is in Chapter 8. Moving into the dojo, there are 5 fights here, but only one really matters, and it's Master 3. The only other fight that can pose as a threat for Bombette though is Chan, because he's a Buzzy Beetle. Explosions won't work, but Bombette doesn't need explosions. All she has to do is body slam, and it will do just fine. At Ultra rank, she has 5 attack power, meanwhile Chan has only 2 defense. Mix in some guards from Mario and you're golden. As for Master 3, Bombette does pretty well here. Her damage already is very solid, and thanks to Flower Saver, Bomb costs only 1 FP, so we can very easily spam it. Yes, Master 3 does do a lot of damage to Mario, but often he can only one-shot Mario if he has 10 HP and he's using the double attack, and that's only if I miss both blocks. Save for that, Bombette's one of the easiest partners you can do this with, barring maybe something like Goombario. With some explosive results, I dare say Bombette graduated with flying colors in this exam. Enjoy your diploma, my lady, though our celebration will be short-lived. The next fight I want to focus on is Kenshi Koopa. So, this guy has 6 defense when standing on top of his feet, and Bombette has no way of toppling him over either. Literally all you can do is spam bomb and survive. And get this, Bombette's bomb does only 1 damage per hit. So, technically you could win this fight, but good freaking luck. And I mean it when I say luck, because without all 3 FP pluses, 2 flower savers, and at least 1 happy flower, which is already 24 BP, you're not winning this. So not very promising. It's Bobbery! What do he and Bombette have in common? That being said, Chapter 7 holds lots of promise for Bombette. After desecrating the corpse of the Mayor Penguin with Bombette's bomb, Junior Troopa challenges us once again. Despite Junior Troopa's alarmingly high attack power, we have plenty of defense to survive against him. All you have to really do is just spam bomb after bomb after bomb. It takes roughly, I'd say, about 8 turns to win, and that should be the last of him before Chapter 8. Oh boy, Chapter 8. That will be interesting. Anyway, the next fight is against Monstar. This boss is airborne, so Bombette's bomb is required to win. And at immediately 20 HP, it only takes 3 Mega Bombs to finish him. I'd say easy pickings, but the fights in the Crystal Palace aren't much worse either. For starters, there are duplicates, but they're not really a problem for Bombette. Like, if they transform into Bombette, then they can get 1 KO'd by Power Bomb. I find this rather interesting actually. It seems as if Lee, you know the guy you fight in the dojo, using bomb against him when he's Bombette does not destroy him immediately. But these duplicates, when they're hit by Power Bomb, they immediately get knocked out. So that does have a fair bit of time. And then there are the clubbers with all the Magic Koopas too. Some were more obnoxious than others, but none of them were able to keep Bombette down for good. The first fight against 1 Clubber and 1 Black Magic Koopa was actually pretty easy. Yeah, the latter makes his comrade invisible, but you just wait a few turns and then they become visible again. It's not like it's permanent. And back in Chapter 5, Bombette already demonstrated that she can overwhelm White Magic Koopas with her healing. All that's left now are the 3 White Clubbas and the Green Magic Koopa. And increasing defense by 1 per turn doesn't really measure up to being able to do a whopping 7 damage in 1 hit. To the entire party, mind you. It's funny, Bombette's able to just brute force a lot of fights from this point forward, including the Crystal King. For this entire fight, you just use your bomb attacks. If he's grounded and has no illusions, use bomb. Grounded with illusions, use power bomb. Airborne with illusions, use mega bomb. No matter what, each and every time you use your bomb attacks, you do 5 damage to him, which is quite a lot. Even with the Crystal King healing 2 times for 20 HP each, I was able to end this fight starting with 50 FP and ending it with 0. And all the while, not really worrying about taking too much damage either because of my defenses being so strong by now. That right there is Star Spirit number 7. Well done. Very well done. You know, as we're entering Chapter 8, I find it funny. Bombette's entire kit is full of nothing but attacks. It's actually kind of weird how Bombette literally can only body slam and explode. Every other partner though has some kind of status move. But back to the actual run. The first fight of note here is against the 3 Koopa Trolls and the 1 Magic Koopa. Power Bomb here works fine, though it was a surprise to me to learn that Koopa Trolls have 3 defense. A possible fight though is a possible fight. And speaking of which, there's also the Anti-Guy unit, which is, yeah, possible, but all the same, Mario is very much taking lots and lots of damage as the fight goes on. Not enough to be in danger of losing unless I'm just really bad at guarding, but it is all the same concerning. For Bombette to win though, you really only need 8 turns. Even with the absolute worst possible RNG this fight has to offer, perfect guarding means that even if the anti-guys win for acro jump after acro jump after acro jump for every single turn, you'd still have about 3 or 2 live streams left. So I'm happy to say that Bombette has nothing to fear here. Junior Troopa though could be interesting, which I mentioned because he's the very next boss fight we deal with. This little tyke has 60 HP max and 2 defense points. Meanwhile, Bombette's bomb for 1 FP does 5 damage per turn. Things start out pretty easy, you just spam bomb until he starts flying, then you use Mega Bomb instead. When Junior Troopa's on the ground however, well, the damage he does to Mario is mostly inconsequential when he's in danger, but there is a chance that Junior Troopa can heal himself for 10 HP. And like, for this fight, it's not really a problem, because enough time has passed where Junior Troopa does not heal himself, where Bombette is able to finish him off. But in theory, he could also just choose to repeatedly heal himself, and I just run out of FP and it becomes a stalemate. It almost happened with Sushi in Chapter 5, so I think it's fair to say the same thing could happen here too. And if you're wondering what I mean, just look at Sushi trying to fight the White Magic Koopa and 3 Pichu Piranhas in the Jade Jungle. Well, whenever the video is out anyway. All the same, good show to Bombette. And this leaves us with one more fight to really look at, and it's Hallway Bowser. You might be wondering about Final Bowser atop of Peach's castle, but stick around after the fight and I'll tell you what happens there. So, Bombette is rather gifted in this fight. Her bomb is cheap at 1 FP, doing a whopping 6 damage per turn before Bowser powers himself up. So in 2 turns, she does 12 damage. And after he powers himself up, she still does 3 damage per turn. Yeah, her attack power is cut in half, but Bombette's stream of damage is still very steady. And even with the worst possible RNG you could face at this point in the fight, you would still have life streams left unless you miss some guards on your partner. And in case you're wondering about Bowser's one-time heal where he heals 20 HP on himself, he doesn't use it. I don't know the exact science behind why, but I do explain it in a previous challenge video I did on this channel. I'll link it in the end of the video, how about that? But that about ends it for Bombette's chapter in this story of partner-only challenges. And if you don't know why we fight Bowser's final form in this series, well, let me tell you. It's because literally no partner can do it. Because on turn 2, Bowser becomes invincible, and as a result, you need Mario's Starbeam and Peach Beam to actually do damage to him in the future. So with all that said and done, how did Bombette do? Assuming my math is correct, Bombette's score is relatively low compared to other partners, but is actually pretty average at 24 points. Which sure isn't great, but it's not necessarily bad either. Speaking of average, it's actually kind of funny how she's actually in the dead center so far. Despite being slick only and being able to attack grounded enemies for most of the game, she did have an advantage against fights at the Koopa Bros, and she does gain an area of effect attack and Mega Bomb for everyone. And that's a pretty big deal that likely earned her at least half of her points. Though this partner was weird to use considering the fact that she has literally only attacks. But I sure hope y'all enjoyed it. Though personally, I enjoyed using Bobbery a lot more in his solo challenge. And you can see for yourself why that is when you click the video on the screen right now. In any case, the partner we'll be seeing next week is Goombario. Thank you to both Wink Valmaki and Bayanu for playing along. And to my repeat winners, don't worry, I've got you covered. But can you guess the next partner in the series? All I have to say is good luck.